Hi, everybody. I'm Caryn Koop, Chief Door Opener at Koop Consulting, and I'm here with Natalya, who is the Chief Energy Officer, and would share a little bit about what you do.
I elevate energy so people can be in their state of genius, have the life that they want, and achieve everything that they desire with less stress and less effort.
Yeah, sign me up for that. And what we do at Koop Consulting, we're best known for the door opener service, where we get our clients in the door with their prospects for the first meeting. So we get the meetings for our clients. And what we're talking about is the power of energy in sales. And you may wonder why we're working together today. We are putting together a series called The Power of Energy in Sales. How does energy affect the sales process, salespeople in their ability to get things done? And today we're talking specifically about energy with prospecting, something that's near and dear to my heart. But before we begin with that, you talk about working in your zone of genius all the time and what that does for your energy. Share with everybody a little bit about that and as that relates to prospecting.
Sure. Thank you for the question. Love the question. Well, when do we feel more energy? When we are in our sweet spot, in our zone of genius, being in that flow, doing the best we can, using our talents when we feel that we are really great at something, or when we feel like we have to do something we're really not good at and we don't like it in the first place. Well, that's it. It's really all about getting into that place where we feel confident, where we feel in the zone, in the flow, in that zone of genius thinking we are on top of the world, and that elevates our energy and it accesses our full potential, our talents, our intuition, creativity, that genius spot, and everything becomes effortless. The time ceases existing. We don't care about people's opinions. We don't have the judgment. We don't have the fear. And what happens is not only we get to enjoy what we actually do, but also have greater results, performance, engagement, and everything. And who doesn't want that?
Well, that's really important. I feel that all day long as I'm going through my work day, where there are certain parts of the sales process that I just love. It is my comfortable shoe. And I wish I was able to do that all day long, but I can't because I wear many hats for my organization. And it's very important for me to do all the parts of it well. But I got to tell you, there are certain times when I would just like to put my head on the desk and go to sleep because there are certain parts of the process that are just not my favorite, where obviously prospecting is one of my favorites. So when leaders go out to hire a sales hunter, most leaders will think that a hunter is a hunter is a hunter. Now, that's not how we think about it here at Koop Consulting. There are hunters who are tasked with the responsibility of opening the door, meeting the prospects, generating the proposals, closing the sale, and then even servicing after that. That's what we would call end-to-end sales, right? Here at Koop Consulting, we open the door for our clients, and our clients have their hunters go on the meetings and take it from there so that they can focus on closing. But a lot of leaders, when they go to hire salespeople, they will give them end-to-end business development. But that doesn't mean that the person they hired gets their energy from prospecting. In fact, in my experience, it's very few sales hunters who really enjoy the process of getting the doors open. So the big question is for today is when a leader has a seller who's tasked with opening doors, but who gains no energy from that part of the sales process, what can the leader do about it? And what can the seller do about it from an energy standpoint? What's your perspective?
That's a great question. Considering that we can't replace this person and we can't hire you to do all the door opening and support the process, what I would recommend is to really connect with that person, because it's all easy to say, well, you do A to Z, you do the B to B and the whole, opening the doors and closing and everything and get the sales right and then service all these clients. But do we really understand what gets this person fired up? what gets this person in that state of wanting to pick up the phone or do the prospecting and getting to the right people, or even writing a nice message that gets across in a way that it resonates and it attracts that client, right? So what is important is to understand which state that person is at. Is this person feeling like, no, I don't want to do it, I'm not good at it, last time I tried it, it didn't work, it's boring, or whatever comes to mind, all of these victim thoughts, and feeling like we have to do it. When anybody feels like they have to do it, the result is not great. The energy is not great. So we need to elevate that state, right? We want to understand, why is this person doing this in the first place? Why is this person in sales? Because part of sales is creating that relationship with the client, right? Before you need to find the person in the first place. So get in the whole spirit of why I am here in the first place. Am I here to open, to get the client, to service the client, or is it for the money, for the salary? Is it for because my boss needs to be happy and otherwise she or he is angry? Is it for the experience and have X number of years on the resume? Is it for the recognition, self-realization? What is really gets that person going? Why that person is there in the first place, right? And then understand. And as a leader, one needs to understand where that other person gets the energy from, right? Is it communicating with the people? Is it finding a list, a number of people that they need to call? Do they prefer to have that Excel sheet and just simply pick up the phone and call the people? We need to really find the sweet spot, find what gives these people energy, what gives them the joy, what gives them the satisfaction. What of these things does that? And continue looking at what actually affects their energy as well, because we might think it's all good, you just need to prospect and find 100 people you need to call. But if a person hasn't slept enough, the computer doesn't work, there's something happening in his personal life, or the client responded and a person is in his head or her head, all these things that might be influencing this person's energy also need to be considered. What is happening in his physical, emotional, environmental space? Maybe he hates the thing. And so we need to find the little nuggets to add to elevate the energy, to give them something to look forward for, and understand what is eliminating, affecting, and what are the barriers for that energy to be more uplifted.
So what would you say the manager can do when with this information? How would a manager start a conversation with the salesperson to help that person even recognize that this is an energy situation and that somebody does have the ability to change their mindset, to change their energy, but how can the manager help the salesperson with that?
Certainly, it's a good question. And the manager, at the end of the day, can benefit from being a coach. Any leader can be a coach, because that's what actually elevates, inspires, and brings the people to their best performance, right? So having open questions and being curious, being interested. For example, what is going on in your world? What gives you energy? What are the things that you enjoy doing? What are the things that you enjoyed in the last sale, for example? And pick up on the small things. It's like really listening between the lines. What is that they're there for? What is that why, right? What got them fired up the last time? And also what happens with that, as they start talking about their previous successes, right, and achievements, they elevate their energy, they elevate their confidence, they elevate their the desire to live that again. Those positive, successful moments, they start with their personal recognition. And if one as a leader also gives them heads up and their recognition as well. Oh, great, that worked the last time. What did you do? What did you have to do? Can we do it again? How can I support you? Or different questions like, okay, I see you're not really calling today, or you don't, what is going on with you? How's life? What's happening? And go into more detailed conversation to understand, is a person taking care of their well-being and is well rested? There's no pain. I mean, who can be bothered working hard when they're in physical pain or they haven't slept enough? Things like noting if the technology works, if it's too hot, are they too bored working alone because it's home working and they need more of these social interactions and calls. To really understand what is affecting, one needs to be observant and asking questions, whether it's in person or get person on the phone call or a quick Zoom, to understand and pick up those things. Because if the salesperson is not sending reports with lots of people on their list, or they're not responding or something else, a great leader can pick up those sort of low times, right? And so they need to be addressed before it goes very far low, to get the person out. And salespeople really love this participative thing. They love independence, but they also like to be supported, to be understood that someone cares, to have the recognition, sometimes to have, like the carrot and the stick type of thing. I know it by looking at my husband. He's a salesperson and he does need the stick. So, and he does need the recognition as well. So these kind of things need to be picked up. And some people need more or less of that. So there's no secret formula for all.
Well, I that's well said. And I hear you saying that a more supportive and curious environment on the part of the leader will end up being able to turn the energy in, or elevate the energy from what it is to what it could be, where that's not usually the approach that most leaders take. The approach that most leaders take is fear-based, that they need to hit some numbers. And if their people are not doing certain activities, not spending enough time or not doing them well, then that's going to jeopardize the leader's ability to make their goals. And they may enter that conversation from a place of fear. So maybe talk about the manager's energy a little bit.
And that's a very, very good point. And you very rightly said, the managers, they have their own targets, right? The executives have their own targets. And what happens is their own feeling of pressure, of responsibility, it's their energy making them feel stressed, overwhelmed, have anxiety, have worries, and have those fears. So they're lowering their states. And when energy attracts like energy. So we, with that energy, kind of go into the salespeople and then put them down. And it's sort of dragging both, because at the end of the day, do we perform greater when they're relaxed, in the flow, in the state of genius, and have no pressure? Yes, because under pressure, with the same talent, what happens is that we get paralyzed. We don't have access to that great intuition and creativity and potential and all of that. So we start blocking. So it's counterproductive to add the fear and the pressure. And one can say, well, I work really great under pressure and the deadlines and everything. They can, if they enter into that state of genius. And for that moment, the world ceases existence. So going back to the manager's energy, working in partnership with the salesperson. And a great leader, that's what he does. It's not about, I am a great leader because I make someone achieve something. We do it together, and hence the open-ended questions and having a dialogue and seeing, okay, how can I support and everything. It doesn't have to be all the time, but taking the fear away and seeing, okay, if I had no fear, if I didn't have all of these limiting beliefs, and if he doesn't call every 5 minutes, that there will be nothing done, what is the best way to approach that? And taking the fear aside, because it's counterproductive, and pressure is counterproductive. It can be healthy pressure going into getting the buy-in from the salesperson and from myself. Okay, how much time do I give it? What are their expectations? What are the ground rules? What can we do? So really having that internal dialogue, and then the dialogue with the salesperson, getting the buy-in from the salesperson, and it goes into this open-ended questions. If we have the salesperson say, okay, this is what I need, this is how much time I need, this is how many people I can realistically find and call. Okay, we got your buy-in, because when a person has a buy-in, the energy go up, right? Because they're into it. They feel much more connected, and it's much easier to then do the follow-up as well.
Well, that whole idea of the buy-in is also a very supportive methodology for sales leadership as well. It takes a little longer when you're talking to somebody, but getting their buy-in. So if a manager says, I want you to make 50 calls in the next hour, well, you may know that 50 calls in an hour means you're going to have 50 crappy calls. And the salesperson may want to do their research, personalize the outreach, and then have more effective calls, but fewer calls. So I think part of it is the expectation and the buy-in and coming to mutual agreement, and what that does to energy. I never really thought about that. So that's an excellent point. All right, so we have talked today about energy in prospecting. And I think what we'll talk about on our next session is some other options that managers and sales and leaders may have to elevate energy when it comes to prospecting, by maybe breaking up some of the roles and having people work more often in their zone of genius. So that may be a great place to pick up at that point. So everybody, thank you for listening to this segment of the power of energy in sales, and we look forward to seeing you on the next segment.